Hi, I'm Trevor Lund from RevTrev.com, and in this episode we are continuing our discussion with writer Jeff Goins. And Jeff is blogs at goinswriter.com, so you need to check him out there. But you also want to check out, is it rex.com? Is that the...
wreckedthebook.com.
Wreckedthebook.com.
Yeah.
We're talking about the book Wrecked right now, and it's going to be released. I think it's August 1st, right? Like that's 2012, because this will be up a lot longer. So they'll say, what is on it? What year is that? Yeah, 2012. And I like what I see him doing. I like what I see him doing with social media. I like what I see him doing with gathering people together to help promote this book. I like what I see in the book. I like the cover. It's so cool. But Jeff, why did you write Wrecked?
Good question. It's different from a lot of the stuff I've done online. On my blog, I've spent the last year and a half writing about writing and how authors can build platforms and use marketing to share their work. And this isn't really about that. This is about the previous 5 years of my life and beyond. My work that I've done with the nonprofit Adventures and Missions, and how there is some kind of cool synergy. But I started working for this organization as a writer, and I started helping missionaries and our staff learn how to blog. And so I started helping them tell their stories. Mm-hmm. And that eventually turned into like a marketing position and a communications role, where I was helping kind of organize all of our organization's communications and branding, and how we were capturing stories and then sharing them with our audience through email newsletters and social media and blogs in a way that kind of moved and motivated people to become more involved in our organization. So as I was doing all of that, I started an online magazine telling stories about how people's lives were changed through some painful paradigm-shifting situation. And so it started out with, kind of the predictable: people go on a mission trip, they come back from that experience, they've experienced a bunch of poverty, they've seen a bunch of suffering, and they came back and they used this word. They said, "I've been wrecked. My life is ruined. I can't go back to normal. I'm no longer ordinary." Anybody who's been overseas and seen, a context that is unfamiliar to them can probably relate to this in some respect. And they come back home, they come back to normal, and it just feels weird, and you feel like you don't fit. So we started an online magazine to tell these stories, to help promote some of the trips that we were doing. But as we started to do that, I was meeting people that I worked with, people that I met at church, or neighbors, that lived in the same apartment complex as me, and I would tell them these stories, and I would tell them about what I did, and they would go, "Oh, well, that's happened to me, but I didn't go overseas. That happened to me when I took a inner city trip for a service project or something, in downtown Chicago. That happened to me when I volunteered with this organization right outside of college. That happened to me when my cousin had cancer, and everything just kind of fell apart. But at the end of the experience, I realized I now saw the world differently, and I treasured life a lot more." So I found that there was this theme in people's lives that had experienced pain in some respect, that their lives were now changed, and in some ways better, and in some ways harder. But there was this kind of really beautiful redemptive thread that came out of that. And so the basic idea of the book is pain is the only way that we grow, and we find our best lives, we find our greatest purpose, not by trying to accomplish all of our goals. Because I don't know about you, but when I make a list of goals and I get them all done, I still feel like something's missing. And the lesson that I've learned from that is life is not all about me. And so we become most alive and find the most fulfillment in our lives when we're giving our lives away for other people.
One of the things that you're doing is you're having people tell their stories on about being wrecked. Like, how have any surprised you? Is it has it wrecked you reading other people's stories?
Yeah, well, when we started the online magazine years ago, and that went on hiatus about a year and a half ago. So I don't know what we'll end up doing with that. That's what we wanted to do, and I always felt like it never fully actualized into this community of storytellers. So I wanted to try it again with the book, and I've been really amazed. I mean, we're publishing like 2 stories a day now on the website, and we've got 80 or 100 in the hopper. I mean, there's just a ton that people have submitted, and they're all great. So yeah, the thing that I didn't want is I didn't want people to go, well, I've never been on a mission trip, so I've probably never been wrecked, because that's not the point. And at the same time, I didn't want it to just be like, people sharing their, tragedies, tragic stories about death and suffering, and this is what wrecked me, because there is this redemptive element to being wrecked, where you experience pain and you realize life is not about you, and there's something comes from that. But a lot of the stories are amazing, and yeah, I mean, I've been really impressed with not only how compelling the stories are, but also how well they're written. And I guess that probably comes from building this community of writers, and all of these people submitting these really beautiful stories. There's this one story. It's called "How I Stopped Shuddering," and it tells this story, about this woman who talked about the year that she started shuddering, and all of these tragedies happened in her life, in these people who were involved in her life, relatives, several people, friends, relatives, family members. She found out that they had some fatal disease. A couple of them had HIV, I think, turned into AIDS, and she watched these people that she loved die. But then the last person was her cousin who was dying of AIDS, and he didn't really believe in God, and then in those final days kind of turned his life around and had this uncanny joy and hope because of this newfound faith that he had found, and that changed her life. And she said, and after that, I saw other tragedies, but I didn't shudder at them anymore. So it was this really, really kind of is a great story, but there was also this cool literary, thread throughout it, where she was using this, the shudder as kind of a cue for these major moments in her life, and I thought that was a really interesting story.
So, do you have any plans for a chicken soup for the wrecked soul or anything like that?
Absolutely not. I do not. It would be like, because, the book is kind of, a little bit of a kick in the butt. It's a strong challenge, to live a life that's not just about you. So it would have to be like, couldn't be chicken soup, it would have to be like, gasoline for the wrecked soul, or something. I mean, something that you do not want to swallow. Gross medicine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you're when is the launch date for this? What can people expect? Where do they go? What are all those details?
Yeah, so I'm a new author, and I know that most people don't rush to the bookstores to buy books from new authors, and so I'm not taking it for granted that people are just going to buy my book as soon as it comes out. The side note to that is there's a small window of time in which people can buy books for the book to really kind of get the most traction and most notice it can have, and have the best chance at succeeding that it can have. And so what I'm doing is, first of all, people want to find out more about the book, they can go to the website. It's wreckedthebook.com, or they can just go to my blog, goinswriter.com, and there's a link to it there. And so what we're doing is the book launch is August 1st, which is a Wednesday. And so just for the week, which is only a few days, from Wednesday to Saturday, so that's August 1st through 4th, anybody who buys the book, whether it's at a brick and mortar store like Barnes and Noble, or online at Amazon, anywhere that books are sold, you can get this book, and if they don't have it, you can order it, no problem. If they buy the book that week, keep the receipt, and then email it to me, I will send you $158 worth of stuff, free digital products. So that includes this book that we just talked about, You're a Writer. It includes an hour-long audio program where I talk about how to build a platform, how to build a brand, how to do all of these cool writerly things, a free audio version of the book, Wrecked, a free study guide, and 50% off of my upcoming online writing course.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So a ton of free stuff. And again, the point is there's a limited time that we have to really move some copies of the book so that it has the best chance at succeeding. I'm not going to be making $1 million off of this book. It's just about getting the book, the message that I care about, into as many hands as possible. And so I don't want to take it for granted that people are going to just buy it that week. I believe in the book. It has a strong message, I think, but I want to reward anybody who chooses to be an early adopter of it. So that's kind of a fun thing that we're doing the launch week.
Smiling at your language. Not many people know what an early adopter is, but you and I do. Well,
somebody who goes first.
The first 3.5%. Jeff, thank you so much for making time for these interviews. I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much for the book. I really enjoyed that too. I'm going to be doing up a review for the readers of what I enjoyed about it. Cool. And so people just go check out his site. Go check out wreckthebook.com and go buy the book the next week. When you watch this, I don't know. Go buy it, even if it's late. Just go buy it. It'll be fun. Anyway, thank you so much, Jeff. And I don't even care. I'm going to bless you in the name of Jesus. And pray for his riches to increase on your life and in all that you do. And you're a man after his heart. And it is just, it's bigger things than you can even dream about are his plans for you. And I'm excited to watch it happen. So God bless you, sir. And take care.
Thanks, Trevor.
Okay.